you want to go through the Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff first, or what do you want to do?
Yeah,
Okay.
the meeting will come to order. Tonight's zoning board meeting only has one item on it. And before we start, would you all please rise? We'll salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. Before we go on, the board had an executive session prior to the opening of the meeting this evening. All right, we ready? Roll call, Jean?
Mr. Hart.
Here.
Mrs. Cluley.
Here.
Mrs. McFarland.
Here.
Mrs. Askey.
Here.
Mr. Borak.
Here.
Okay. Now we want, Joyce, would you read that?
Certainly. This is our standard statement that we start our zoning hearings with, that we will give all interested parties an opportunity to ask questions and testify in connection with the applications being heard tonight. After a witness for the applicant completes testimony, you will be given an opportunity to ask questions of that witness. In addition, after an applicant has completed its case, you will also be given an opportunity to testify, which will require you to be sworn in as a witness. If you wish to participate in the hearing on an application, you need to complete the entry of appearance form, which will be provided to you by the zoning officer, who is sitting at the table next to our court reporter. We ask your cooperation in maintaining silence during the hearings so that both the board and the court reporter can hear the testimony of the witnesses. We also ask that all cell phones be turned off now. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. When do you want to make your announcement?
Whenever you're ready.
Well,
Okay.
you want to make it now?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name's Keith McLennan. I am the normal solicitor, well, abnormal solicitor, I should say, for the Zoning Hearing Board. And the matter that comes before the board tonight involves a piece of property that is owned by a client of mine, and therefore I cannot serve as solicitor, and I'm recusing myself as a consequence. And in my stead is the august Joseph Bagley from Whistler, Pearlstein, Talone, Craig, Garrity, Potash, and unless you added some names, that's the law firm that he's with. He's here to, in essence, hear the case because he doesn't have any conflict of interest or potential or perceived conflict of interest, so he's here in my stead. So thank you, Joseph, for that. So with that, have a good meeting, good luck, and may God bless. Joyce, you're up.
You're buying dinner tonight, right?
Okay, Joyce, you have an announcement?
At this time, I would like to make an announcement as well. I have the privilege of serving with the Lower Providence Community Ambulance Center, who are the folks who really did own this building. The applicant tonight, I understand, is now the equitable owner. But because I am working with the ambulance group to help them raise money in phase 2 of their building fundraiser, so we can actually get the building put up on the new property that they own, so there's no perception of any conflict of interest. I have thought long and hard about this, but I've decided that it might be in the best interest of the zoning board if I recuse myself from this meeting tonight. I know that I could act without prejudice, but I just feel that we don't want rumor to feel that I had any influence in any way that would be out of kind. So please, look for all of our materials on our Phase 2 building, because we need $400,000, because we do have a soil problem.
She's done the
Thank you.
commercial.
No commercial break.
No commercial. Thank you all.
Thank you for that advertisement. Okay, now, the board, we have to address one thing. We have to vote in our conflict solicitor for the evening. Mr. Bagley?
Yes.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I make a motion, we appoint Mr. Bagley as our conflict attorney.
Okay, Kathy made the motion. Can I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Bob seconded it. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You seconded? Oh, he thirded. Everybody say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you.
and thank you. Okay. Who wants to read item Z1404? Nobody? Okay.
I find it.
What did you say you wanted?
Is Bob going to do it?
I don't know. I thought he said yes, and then
Aha, I
Go ahead.
located it first. Okay, this hearing tonight is
Here's what I forgot.
Z-14-04, Carlo Meyer, 2973 Second Street, Norristown, PA, 19403, represented by Michael Fury, Esquire, Fury and Baldessari, PC. The applicant is proposing to change the use of the subject property. There are currently 2 buildings on the property. Building number 1 is being utilized as community center, and building number 2 is an ambulance EMS service. The applicant is proposing to use building number 1 as a daycare center and 2 residential dwellings, or in the alternative, 3 residential dwellings. The applicant is proposing to use building number 2 as a contractor/flooring business. The property is served by both public water and sewer. The applicant is requesting the following. 1, a special exception for the proposed change of non-conforming community center and ambulance EMS service to the proposed uses above. Under section 143-147, a non-conforming use cannot be changed to a use designated for a district having less restrictive regulations. The applicant submits that the proposed uses meet this criteria and constitute comparable uses or more restrictive uses. Section 143-150 permits a change of non-conforming use by special exception. 2, in the alternative, the applicant requests variances from 143-36 to permit the proposed uses. 3, the applicant requests an extension of the 6-month expiration period under section 143-170 to obtain all permits required. The parcel ID of subject property is 43-00-06316-00-4, Block 20, Units 55, 56, and 101. Subject property is located at 101 Hillside Avenue and is currently zoned R2 residential.
thank you, Bob. Now, before we start, before every zoning board meeting, we have a standard statement that the board makes. The zoning hearing board will give all interested parties an opportunity. Did I do?
Did Joyce read that?
Joyce did.
Yeah.
She had me laughing, sorry. But everyone will have an opportunity to speak. Okay. Mike?
Thank you very much. Good evening, members of the board. It's good to see you again. Mike Fury here for Mr. Meyer, the equitable owner of the property. I have exhibit packets for the board, if I could hand those up. Mr. Meyer is here to testify this evening, and I'm going to make some opening statements, and I may call on Mr. Meyer to fill in some testimony, so perhaps we could have him speak.
Carlo Anthony Meyer,
Spell your last name, please.
M-E-Y-E-R.
Raise your right hand, please, so I can swear you in. Okay, thank you. Please, thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that testimony that you give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Members of the board, I know you're all familiar with this property. Just a couple modifications with regard to the application. Mr. Meyer has advised me that with regard to the daycare center, we're going to withdraw that without prejudice at this point. My understanding is interest in the property from someone who might operate a daycare there is not there. So we're going to go with the alternative, which was the 3 residential uses in the one building, and then in the garage, where the ambulances are parked. That's going to be either Mr. Meyer's flooring business, or he's going to be renting it to a contracting business or operating a contracting business there, and I can have him describe what kind of contracting business he's thinking about as far as that goes. Just a correction or clarification, actually, with regard to the property. The property was properly advertised as 101 Hillside Avenue. It is the parcel number as set forth, which is 43-00-06316-00-4, all contained in the deed, which is attached as Exhibit A2. A1 is the application and the layout, plot plan layout, and A2 is the deed. That's a 32,000 square foot lot. The Board of Assessment has it as Block 20, Unit 55. And then included in that are Units 56, 57, 58, 59, and 101. So I think there were 3 units noted, which are the 3 units right on Hillside, but it's also the 3 units to the rear. But it's all one parcel number, it's all one block, and like I said, the Board of Assessment has it as Unit 55, which then includes the other units. As you see, the deed to the property is in the Lower Providence Community Center, the ambulance service. According to the deed, the history of the property is that the 1976 Painters Union sold the piece to the Lower Providence Community Center, and in 1976, prior to that, a church owned it and had sold it to the Painters Union in '67. Property historically is a community center and ambulance EMS service center. Building 1 is currently used for a community center and sleeping quarters for the ambulance squad, and Building 2 is a garage for the ambulance squad. Mr. Myers, is all that accurate?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Fury, is your client amending the application to add the units 57, 58, and 59?
Well, to add the reference to the units, the parcel number and the address already included those units, and as far as the Board of Assessment goes, it's Unit 55, and then it includes all these other units. So, yes, we're amending to include the reference to those other 3 units.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. But I mean, as far as advertising goes, the address and the parcel number was all accurate, and it referred to Unit 55, which is the main unit. Okay, according to the zoning map, the property is zoned R2, and as you can see, the zoning map is attached as A6. You'll see that it's zoned R2 with commercial in close proximity. The Ridge Pike Business District is right up the street, and then of course a mobile home park across Ridge Pike with the dense residential uses. Mr. Meyer is the equitable owner of the property, and that's located under tab 4. And Mr. Meyer, if you could turn to tab 4 and just identify, that's the purchase agreement which you are a signatory to, is that correct?
That's right.
Okay, and you've placed $25,000 down on this property, is that correct?
Yeah.
And the purchase price was redacted in 2 spots. The rest of the agreement, there was also an option agreement that preceded this agreement, is that correct? No. Okay, that agreement is in force, and you are the equitable owner. And according to the agreement, from what I understand, the community center has the right to extend settlement until their community, the new ambulance building is built. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay. And they're still occupying the building currently.
Yeah.
And do you know when you anticipate settlement to be, or?
Like I said, hopefully not 4, it looks like 4 to 6 months.
Okay. So we're down the road a little bit. Not the and so your agreement would stay in force then after the April 15th date.
Yeah.
Date as set forth in there. Okay. Under tab 5 is the aerial photograph, which is up on the screen as well, or very similar. Mr. Mark, could you address to the board that you understand that are there other multifamily uses in the area that you know of?
Well, there's the business malls, and across the street from there, I think there's a couple multi-family, and down on First Street, corner of First and Hillside, or Sunnyside, there's a multi-family, regular two-story house. I think you have a two-family or maybe three-family living in there, duplex or, not sure if it's duplex or something, but it's a multi-family, like 1 block away.
Excuse me, Mr. Meyer, we can't hear you, and I'm afraid you're not being picked up for the
All right.
use the microphone. Thank you.
Hello?
Oh, okay. I know there's a house, that's a little loud. Is that okay? About a block down on First Street, that's straight ahead of the community center, on the left-hand side, corner of First Street and, what is that, Sunnyside? There's a duplex there with a multifamily living in there. I think there's 2 units, possibly 3 units in that one little, well, it's not that little, but the house is sitting there in a corner lot. Up the street on Ridge Pike, there's a across from Mole's Flowers. I think there's a couple studios the guys renting in there. So, other than that, that's about all I know about.
And Mr. Meyer, you own other properties in the immediate vicinity, is that correct?
Yeah, I
And your
have.
house is back?
Mine's adjacent where you can see the swimming pool,
Okay, that's your
and
house.
then I have 3 in a row houses I own.
Oh.
All right.
Now, am I correct that Building 1 is currently used as a community center and sleeping quarters for the ambulance squad, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the thought is there to convert that into the 3 residences, and you gave the board a conceptual layout plan, and that was attached to your application under Exhibit A1, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then with regard to the garage, your thought is to operate your flooring business or a contracting business, or rent it to a contractor. Explain to the board what your thoughts are with regard to the type of contractors might be interested in that garage.
In case I don't do flooring anymore, I want to be able to have the option to rent it to like electrical contractor, plumber, or somebody in the contracting field, or landscaping or something, some type of contracting going in there, because it's a big warehouse type building. I think it's like 27 feet wide by 58 feet long, and it's all, I think they have pictures of the inside of it, that, and there's plenty of parking in front, and actually the front, when you first pull in, is almost like 50 feet just to pull into the garage space of that. If you look at the pictures, so.
Well, yeah, why don't we do that? You're looking at then under tab 8, and that's the photographs, and just describe the first page under tab 8, what the board's looking at on the top picture.
This tab 6, wasn't it? Okay, yeah, tab 8, you're right. If you see the garage in front of you, just pulling in there, it's a little deceiving, but it is almost 50 feet to get to that garage door itself, and around the back, you got over 100 feet in the back there, so there's plenty of places to pull in and pull out. And on to the left of that, it's not shown in the picture, there's 8 to 9 parking spots adjacent, right next to the house sitting next to it.
Okay, so let's
So-
just orient the board then. In the top photo under A8, the garage is on the left, and then building number 1, which is the community center and sleeping quarters for the ambulance squad, that's on the right. Is that correct?
Yep, yes,
So then the bottom picture is from the rear, the reverse of those two. Is that correct?
yes,
And that also shows the large parking area.
yes,
If you look at the next page under tab A8, the top picture shows the ADA accessible ramp, is that correct?
yes,
And then the bottom picture shows the picture of the driveway and back to the parking lot.
yes,
Next page shows the interior of the ambulance garage. Is that correct?
yes, it is.
Okay, and then the last picture is just a number of pictures showing the meeting room and the other areas, sleeping quarters and bunk rooms and whatnot for the ambulance squad. Is that correct?
Yes. I just want to make a note, it already has, I think 2 kitchens already in it, and 5 or 6 bathrooms. So I think it's 5,000 square feet inside the building itself. And it's pretty much split into 3 different levels.
Hence the reason why it would be difficult to use it as a single-family dwelling, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually perfectly divided into 3 residential units, is that correct?
It is. Well, the top floor is more of like a meeting room, but that's the only construction, or if I would have made some bedrooms out of that, I guess. I don't know. Everything else is pretty much,
The conversion of this large building into 3 residences to more fit in with the residential district, very similar to an application that I brought to the board last year in application Z1301, and the board may recall this application, but I have a couple of copies of the decision here, and just hand off to your solicitor, and the board members like to review that. So we believe these uses to be more restrictive, if not, at least not less restrictive than the current uses. And as the board can see, the conversions are allowed by special exception. And as seen in the aerial photograph, there's plenty of parking. Mr. Meyer, let's talk about the parking spaces required. With regard to the residences, that would be 6 spaces, and obviously the property has sufficient for that, is that correct?
oh, yeah.
And
Yes.
the garage, did you say it was about 32 by 58? Is that,
32 by 58, actually, that's inside.
that's inside?
Measurement, so a little bit bigger.
Is it more? So even if the property was 2,000 square feet, the parking requirements, I was looking at the parking requirements. It's not clear to me what a contracting business or a landscaping business would require for parking, but even if you take your most restricted parking, which is 1 for 250 square feet, that's only 8 spaces for a 2,000 square foot building. So total 14 spaces is all we need, and there are plenty of parking spaces back there. Is that correct, Mr. Meyer?
Yes, it is.
I just wanted to bring the board's attention to the, under tab 7, I just pulled some documents from the township, which is instructive as to how the property is non-conforming. You'll see the very first reference here is a use and occupancy, application for use and occupancy permit, and the UNO that appears to go with it in 1976, referencing 101 Hillside Avenue, zoning district residential for a community center. So that's, looks like that's where that started. You'll see in 1980 there were alterations and renovations to the building. 1980 to 81, the garage was added for the ambulances. In 81, there were new additions to building number 1. And in 85, there were renovations with regard to the study room, file room, bunk room, and sleeping quarters, which establishes that the property is those uses for the ambulance squad, but also used as sleeping quarters. There's just attached also examples of the business license, which are issued with reference to the property, and you'll see the occupancy load certificate for up to 140 persons in that one meeting. So Mr. Meyer is obviously the logical buyer with regard to the property, owning properties in the immediate vicinity, has good plans for the property. This would also afford the community center funds to assist them to move their new location, which I understand has been recently rezoned for that purpose. Mr. Meyer, do you have anything else to add?
Not really, no.
That's our application. I'm sure the board has questions.
Mr. Meyer, I'm sorry, customarily I ask questions before my board, but if it's the other way around here, I'm happy to defer mine. Should I ask mine?
Go right
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. Mr. Meyer, are the parking spaces labeled, or, I'm sorry, lined?
Yes, they are.
All right, and how many parking
I'm
spaces?
sorry. I think the back part is not totally lined, part of it is, and then the front area where the garage is, there are lines there, and on the side, there's some lines, but not the total back area is not lined.
Do you have any spaces are lined?
Between, if I had to take a good guess, 20 to 50, or maybe more. There's 8, 9 on the side. If you go into that picture, see it right there? Do you see the
Yes.
line spaces?
Is that picture, is that the same picture that's in your exhibits?
Yeah. Let me see. Well, see, it's a little blurry, but you can probably see more of the lines in that picture up there on the camera there.
Mr. Meyer, if in conjunction with the building permit, if you're fortunate to move forward, and the building officer requires you to line more spaces, you would do that.
Oh, yeah. I think there's a lot of lines now. They're just very vague in the back. I think they had it at one time, but there's
Are there at least 14 spaces that are lined?
more, there's maybe 50, actually. Handicap, too. But well, the one on the
Wait,
garage
Mr.
on the
Meyer,
left?
Mr. Meyer.
Sorry.
The order that we'll do this in is I'll ask questions, the board will ask questions, and then if there's questions from the community, you'll have a chance to ask Mr. Meyer questions. Is it your testimony there's at least 14
Yes.
lined
Yes, sir.
parking spaces?
Yes.
And your testimony is there's actually more than 14?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us about your floor contracting business?
Yeah.
Is it currently operating?
Yes, it is.
Where is it operating?
Well, it's at my home, office is in my home, and I have a small warehouse in Oaks, Pennsylvania. And I have about 1,000 square feet that we store carpet, and I have 6 crews that come in the morning and load up what they have for their jobs for the day. And that's about it. For the warehouse, I have a guy sitting in there that gets deliveries periodically during the day.
If this application is approved, will you continue to use the warehouse that you referenced?
The one in Oaks?
Yes.
I don't believe so. I want to move into this place.
All right. That's 1,000 square feet?
Roughly, I rent about 1,000 square feet
And how much space did you testify that this garage is?
with the 2,000, about 2,000.
All right. So will you also stop the operation at your house as well?
No.
All right. So you'll continue to use your house and you will use this subject property, correct?
Yes.
And you said you have 6 crews, correct?
Yes.
And how many people does that consist of?
Two guys to a crew, so
So you
12.
have 12 employees?
12. I have like 4 full-time crews and then 2 part-time crews, so.
All right. How many
I-
employees total? do
There's
you
no
have?
employees. I have subcontractors that work for me.
All right. So is it a total of 12 subcontractors?
You can give or take, we have 10 or 12 contractors I have now.
Besides yourself, is there anyone else working in what would be your office?
I have my sister that does the bookkeeping.
Is there any other employee or subcontractor besides those 13?
I might bring a couple guys in when I need it, but very doubtfully, no.
So would it be correct that the most people you would expect at this building at any given time would be 14 people, including yourself?
At the most. Yeah.
And what would your hours of operation be?
8 to 4,
And how many days a week?
sometimes 6.
What times would it be 6?
I don't understand that. Wait.
So usually it would be 5 days a week,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And then the 6th day would be a Saturday?
Yes.
And when typically does your...
hour,
does it-
okay.
Wait till I finish the
Go ahead,
question.
sorry.
When typically would your business be operating on a Saturday?
Just for 1 hour, just load them up and, do what they have to do.
How about during the year? What time during the year would you work on Saturday?
We just
Is it
basically,
only on an as-needed basis, or is there a seasonal time when you work on Saturday?
normally we do almost year-round Saturdays. I have to say we're working Saturdays quite a bit.
So it's going to be
So-
6 days a week?
I would say yes, yes.
And when on Saturday, what time would it be on a Saturday?
Normally we load up around 8 in the morning. And it takes about an hour to get everybody out.
And that would be the only time you would work on the Saturday?
But I would personally work, yes.
Okay, but would the employees then go, the subcontractors go do a job and then return to the site?
No, they probably won't return until that following Monday, so.
What time would the employees arrive if they're working from 8 to 4
For weekdays or,
for weekdays?
right around 7:30.
So in terms of operation, it's actually going to be more like 7 to 4?
You're right, but 7 to 4, yep.
And will the employees be off the premises by 4 o'clock?
They'll be off the premises by 8, well, they're only there for like an hour. The subcontractors, you mean?
Yeah, at the end of the day, will they return to your
No.
site?
No,
They won't?
no.
Now, you're also asking for relief in terms of a future business that you're referring to as electrical contractor or some other type of contracting business.
In case
that
I
correct?
wanted to stay where I'm, stay where I'm at, go back where I'm at, or have someone else who wants to go to the place, I want to have the option to be able to.
Your present plan, though, when you settle on this property.
My
is to-
plan is to move in, yes.
All right,
Yes.
you're anticipating my
Yeah.
question again.
Yeah.
So let me finish it.
All right.
Your current plans are when you settle on the property, you're going to move the flooring business in, correct?
Yes. Yes.
In the community center, why is it that you say that it's set up for 3 different dwellings, 3 distinct residential dwellings? Can you describe why that is?
Yeah, should have better.
Perhaps the board could reference A1. Right behind the application and narrative is the plot plan, and then right behind the plot plan are the 3
Okay.
areas.
Yeah, if we're looking at an exhibit in your A1 that is labeled Apartment A in the upper left-hand corner,
Yes.
why don't you start with that?
All right.
What floor level is that?
That's the very top floor. I mean, if you go back to the picture where the ramp goes up in the back, that's how either the entrance or exit, you'll get to that place, get into there, or the front of off of First Street, that could be the entrance, or
Then let me make a
just to get
suggestion.
in there, I'm just,
Let me make a suggestion. Why don't
Okay.
you turn a couple pages and we'll start with the lower level, okay?
okay.
So there's 2 markings on the sheet that's labeled lower level that say exit.
Okay, yep.
Would those be the entrances to the lower level?
Yeah, well, exit or entrance, really didn't decide too much. There's 2 ways to get in and out, one either front or back, but that would probably be the entrance way. As to the front door where First Street is, there's a door to go into there. You walk down the hall, that's how to get into that unit.
So in your proposal, this would be apartment C, and you would use one of those 2 entrances to access apartment C.
Yes, sir.
And it would have 2 baths, a kitchen, and a bedroom, correct?
Yes.
If we turn to the page before that, we're at the middle level, or apartment B, correct?
Yes.
And how would you access apartment B?
Same door to exit where it says the front there. You go down a hall, and then you'll go down another hall, and you'll have that's how to get in there. And there's another exit door down the hall towards the kitchen.
All right, now, let me just stop you there. There's
Okay.
2 exits labeled, one's labeled entrance B and one's labeled entrance C.
Yes.
Which one were you referring to?
Both, well, C and B, it's either going to be entrance there or exit, or exit entrance B. So depending on where they're going to designate the parking there, that's the way they'll get in or out. There's 2 ways to get in and out.
So they're going to
Most likely, the entrance is going to be where the B is.
Okay,
So there'll be 2 ways getting in and out, and the exit or entrance will be where C and B get in or out, so.
so apartment
too
B is
sure.
going to have how many bedrooms?
1, 2, 3,
And it has how many baths?
1 bath.
And it also has a kitchen, correct?
It has a kitchen in there now. It's set up exactly the way it is right now. It's set up now. That's where the ambulance sleep, and there's 2 bedrooms.
So you wouldn't have to make any interior changes to apartment B, correct?
Only one for the bathroom. See where it's listed bath on the bottom right?
Yes?
I need to put a bathroom in there. Right above there is another bathroom, so it would be easy to tie with the pipes and everything.
All right, so that's the only change for apartment B?
Is the bathroom.
Install a bathroom?
Yes.
I should have asked this for apartment C, but were there any changes that you have to make to configure apartment C?
There's already 2 bathrooms right where, everything is the way, no,
All right, no changes?
no changes.
Okay. Then if we turn to apartment A, you can anticipate, as you're good at, my next question. How
Yeah.
are you going to access apartment A?
Same as the way is the other 2, that same door. Now you have steps that go up, and then that'll lead you into a little hall, into the main room, the meeting room. And and then straight ahead, there's already a kitchen there already. And to the left, they're using it as an office now, that would be a bedroom. To the right, the only changes I would be making in the building, there would have to be a wall put up, put 2 more bedrooms to the right of that. That's what I would be adding to that, 2 bedrooms into that. It's
All right.
like, I think it's 40 feet long. So it would be split, 2 bedrooms will be split up, so it would be like roughly, the bedroom size will be like a 15 by 20, 2 bedroom, 15 by 20. That would be the add-on.
Nowhere are you proposing any outdoor construction, correct?
Not at this time.
And if you were to, you'd come back before the board for any
I would have to,
additional
yes,
construction?
yes.
Okay. Would you, what's the current access in terms of ingress and egress to the lot? Is that shown on the photographs? On Exhibit A5,
What do you mean by grass and stuff, or?
no, we're talking about driveways.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, yeah. Well, where the business will go, there's. Oh, okay. A5, oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
How does somebody currently go in and out?
Got it.
In terms of both buildings? Can you describe that now?
Yes. We'll do the business first. At the one of the big garage areas, you can see the driveway right there, to pull into where the garage is. Right off to the right, they usually sometimes park their trucks there. And to the left, there's about, you can see the lines there. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces for cars. And then you can actually drive through the other side to get to the back rear, and there's tons of parking over there too. Oh, okay. Okay. Like right here, where there's parking here, you would enter this way to get to there. And if they want, they could drive through here, around the back, and then all this behind here. There's plenty of spaces there for this area here.
All right, so the
And they-
record's clear. Mr. Meyer is indicating what is the audio, the visual of Exhibit A5, and he's showing the different impervious surfaces, and he's indicating them with a laser.
Now for the units, there's, when you first come into, off the street here, when you pull in here, right here, there's about 6 or 7 parking spaces right here. You can't really see from the aerial. I don't know if you can see from the picture there. You might be able to see a little bit from the picture there, but there's spaces here. Also around the back, there's tons of places right here for parking. And then right here, they sometimes park their trucks there, right where that little where the 2 buildings almost join. And you have this whole entire parking lot for spaces too also.
Now, are you proposing any changes to ingress and egress?
What do you mean by that, English?
Are you going to change
Oh,
anything?
no,
You're not going to change anything?
no,
Okay.
that's the way it is.
Are the 2 buildings joined by some type of
It's like a
roof attachment?
It's like a little roof, yeah.
Are you proposing to leave it that way?
Yeah, I have no problem.
Okay. And what's under the cover of that attachment?
It's just like a breezeway type.
Okay. And
You mean right-
in terms
right
of
there?
use, who is going to use the breezeway?
Basically, anybody wants to walk through there, one of the units.
It's not closed off.
It's not closed off.
Okay.
But you could actually park right here and walk through and get to the door back there, back to the door too also. You wanted to walk across in there and get to the back door entranceway.
What do you propose in terms of the rear portion of the property, since it looks like if there is sufficient parking, how is the rear going to be used?
Well, I live over here, and depending on how much.
Can you
park-
just, besides saying here,
I'm
for the
sorry.
record, can you indicate where that is?
You see where the swimming pool is?
All right.
I own that house and two in a row here,
What's that address?
2973 Second Street.
Okay.
And I have 2969, and I own 2965, all three in a row. And I may or may not continue to back, there's another area back here, I might continue the yards back this way, depending on how much space I need for parking for these units and for the business, so.
Is that any of the units that are marked 57, 58, and 59?
I'm sorry?
You know how there's 6 separate units that are part of this parcel number?
Oh, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
These units here.
Yep.
Joe, we're on the tax map.
Yeah, is that part of your application?
Yeah, it's the last page of tab 3.
Okay. All right. If we're using the tax map that is part of A3, were you just indicating, Mr. Meyer, you're going to possibly use units 59, 58, and 57?
No, 60 is,
Well,
okay.
that
Is it
is
60?
parking.
Yeah,
That's the parking area. 57, 58, 59 is the parking area behind the building.
Okay. Now, what did you say you were considering using as backyard?
for the, well, it also comes with 60, but it's not listed on the deeds or anything, but I have another part of ground there. I might continue that out. That has nothing to do with the
Purchase?
purchase or the back parking lot.
Let me just
So-
explain for a second. I did talk to Mr. Meyer about that. 60 appears to be owned by the community center, but I don't see where it's part of this agreement. And it's a different parcel number, it's a different address, but it's only a very small piece. I think Mr. Meyer thinks that perhaps he might be buying that from the community center too, but it's not.
But that's a different
Doesn't appear to be
part of this transaction.
Yeah, doesn't-
And it's not part of the application as well? Okay. And is that, Mr. Meyer, that unit 60, is that a different parcel number, tax parcel
Yes, it
number?
is.
Okay.
I can explain why with that, all that, but if you wanted to.
Well, if it's not part of this application.
Yeah, that's what, all right.
You can tell it to a different zoning hearing board
Okay.
solicitor. But when you were indicating your use of the properties you currently own, you were not, were you not indicating any part of unit 59 or 58?
Absolutely not.
Okay. So they will be used in conjunction with the two uses you've described throughout your testimony?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, because that's what the parking lot is.
Yes, yes,
Now,
yes.
can you just describe for us, how will they be used? How is the rear of this property going to be used in your proposed uses?
Well, if we go back to the other picture, like, so, but just.
The aerial?
Yeah, just,
Which one's he talking about?
He's going
basically, you're talking about all this
This
parking
one?
lot space in back
Yeah,
here.
I'm,
talking about all this back here.
yeah, but,
Did he say he owns these 3?
Yeah, I think these do.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of stuff. Man, look at that again.
So what use or what proposed use will you make of the rear part of this parcel number?
Right, just for parking for the units and for any stuff I need to do for the construction business, like maybe, I might have to put, they have a dumpster here. I might have to put another dumpster. That's what we use, as it's used now for a dumpster back there. So I would use most of that for like a dumpster and spaces if I have to put a van or two back there or wherever I have storage wise. Basically, Mostly parking.
So the dumpster will be used in connection with your flooring business?
Flooring business, yes.
All right. Did the community center have a dumpster?
Yes, it is, right back here.
All right.
there. It's fenced in.
And would you only have one dumpster?
Yes.
And would you use this, you said it's fenced in?
The dumpster there now, they have it like fenced in.
Would you use the same fencing that they use?
Possibly, if they leave it there, I guess.
All right. Would you agree that if the board were inclined to grant your application, that you would provide some type of buffer around that dumpster?
If
that were a
If that was
condition?
required, yes, I would do that.
Is there anything in connection with the flooring business that's flammable or anything that would be considered a hazardous material?
No.
Are the carpets flammable?
Yeah, carpet, pad,
Are there parts,
Not like-
are some of the carpets not flammable?
not chemicals. I would assume they're flammable, it's carpet and padding, but basically getting stored there.
Joe, are you
The only
referring to
thing.
like explosive chemicals or something like that?
Paint.
Well, I guess the carpeting itself is probably, according to him, it's flammable, but there's nothing else besides that. There's no acetylene torches, there's no propane,
Oh, no.
there's no gas, there's no flammable fluids or anything like that?
Well, there'll be a forklift to get take the carpet off. When
All right.
we periodically get deliveries.
What's the forklift operate on? What's that?
Propane,
Propane?
yeah.
Is that just a typical forklift,
Yeah.
the classic kind we would expect, we would envision?
Basic forklift that lifts up and takes down, that's it.
Any other type of equipment you would use outside besides the forklift?
A lawnmower, cut the grass and stuff like that, so.
All right. How many vehicles do you have, or do you actually own the vehicles, or the subcontractors own
It's
the
all
vehicles?
basically subcontracts.
All right, and how many vehicles do the subcontractors own?
One per subcontractor, so 6 to 8, so.
And you use the forklift outside, correct?
Usually it doesn't come out of the building.
You keep it inside the building?
Yeah.
Would
It may
you-
come out a little bit to try to get the unload stuff, but normally it doesn't go out. the
So there's
building.
times when it is outside.
Very rarely, but
Does that make any noise when it operates?
not much. I mean, it makes noise, but, nothing like a muffler or something, you know what I mean?
Besides the forklift, is there anything in use with connection with the flooring contracting business that would make smoke, noise, light, emit any sounds?
Just the forklift might be making the noise, that's about it. So cars pulling in and out, I guess, to load up.
Okay. I think, what's the total size of the lot?
32,000.
And just for the record, so it's clear, can you just describe the surrounding uses so, the record's clear as to what actually surrounds the property?
Basically all surrounding the property.
Yes.
The uses are basically.
If we start, like it's a clock face, and you start with, say, midnight, can you just go around the lot and explain what's surrounding it?
All right, well, there's a,
Did you indicate your property is?
okay, there's my property back in there. This is all wooded, and coming down this way is all a wooded lot that stretches back this way about 100 feet, and this area is about 50 feet or whatever. It's all wooded coming through here.
Okay.
There's a driveway that goes in here that belongs to this guy's house. He drives through the street here, makes a right, and he has a parking back in here. So he would pull
When
in
you
his
say
way to
this guy's house, he fronts on which street?
The hillside.
Okay.
He drives down hillside and he'll make a right, and his parking's right here. So, I don't know. And lady lives in this house, is residential.
All right, she's also on Hillside, correct?
Yes, on hillside.
All right.
They go down hillside and another residential to this side. Behind there that's where the houses begin. There's another house behind there. And then there's some ground back in here.
When you say ground, it's vacant,
Well, no. It has-
unimproved?
What's that?
Is it unimproved ground?
Unimproved, there's like a little space that goes across this way. This ground belongs to her, the house that belongs here. This ground, the regular lawn, grass. And then the house next to it has the grass in their back, towards the back there. It's not really, it's like unimproved, I guess. Then you just go straight up this way.
All right, so every surrounding use is either unimproved ground or it's residential, correct?
Yes.
Okay, does the board have any questions?
I do.
Go.
Mr. Myers, do you own parcel 61? Is that where your swimming pool is, on 61?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you own 65, 66, and 67?
And 68, I believe. Yes, yes, ma'am.
And you're going to try to purchase 60 from the ambulance if in fact they own it?
Yes, yes.
When you have your carpet business, will there be large trucks that will be delivering the carpets to the garages?
Yes.
And when do they typically come?
Periodically during the day, we will get 1 to 2 deliveries every other day.
And how big,
Sometimes not anything,
and how big are those trucks?
They could stretch out to be 40 feet. And I'd like to make a note of it on 2nd Street, where if you look at house 38 and 39, and I think he owns 36 and 37 lot, there's a trailer. He has a big Mack truck trailer that he pulls down hillside and into 2nd Street. I don't know how he does, he gets right into there, and he parks his truck there every day. It's a big Mack truck. I mean, I think it's like, I don't know how big they come, but it's the biggest they can come. He actually lives at that house, and he parks his truck there every day. On 2nd Street, the street I live on.
He parks on 2nd Street,
Yes.
you're saying?
Yes, sir.
A commercial truck?
From a commercial truck. So,
Can you,
and he lives on 38 and 39, I believe.
Well, sorry to
That's
follow up
good.
your
Go ahead.
question.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But if that truck comes to make deliveries at your property, is a long 40-foot tractor trailer going to pull onto your property to make the delivery?
Yeah, it'll be going straight up to right in front of the garage. It's plenty of room for them to back up right into there.
So it's not going to park in the street
No,
to to offload deliveries?
No.
Is there going to be sufficient ground for it to turn around?
Yep, it'll be going up this way, back up, and then right backing up in here. Or you actually could come around here and come around the back if it had to. But most likely it's going through here. It will be going through here.
Are you
It's like
aware
50
of
feet.
any of the community center or the ambulance service receiving deliveries like that currently?
No. But the gentleman I was talking about, he lives right here. And his truck gets parked. So he comes down this hillside, makes a right on 2nd Street where I live, and he pulls in this area back here where the grass is. He has a designated area right there. And there is no truck bigger than that. So that's where he is.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
that's all right. The apartments, what's the interior square foot of these apartments?
We'll go one by one.
Yes.
Now, the very smallest one,
Give me by letter, please.
oh, I'm sorry. The lower level, 1-bedroom apartment,
So is that A?
apartment C, the very bottom one. Excuse me. That's about 500 square feet. And number B, that's about 1,500 square feet. And same with the upper level,
Same.
about 1,100 square feet.
On the upper level, 3-bedroom apartment A.
Yes.
Kitchen. And then you have a square behind the kitchen.
Yeah.
Is that an add-on? What is that?
Oh, that's like a closet, a real 10 by 10 closet.
That's already there?
It's already there. There's a door that goes back there. That's where they do their uniforms and stuff. Everything you see is actually there already.
Okay. Do you have a possible tenant for the garage if you don't use it?
No. If I don't use it?
Correct.
No, I do not. I plan on using it. I just want, if, like a year from now, if I decide not to do flooring, I want to be able to have an option to rent it to a contractor or someone that in the same type of business. Without have to come to the hearing every time to ask for, well, now I rent it to an electrical guy or rent it to a plumber guy, you know.
Have you discussed this with the surrounding neighbors?
No, I haven't. Well, a couple of them. Not
And
every one of them, no.
The ones closest to the building and the property?
No.
So you don't know how they feel about this?
Well, I figured the use is almost the same as what's being done now, with the ambulance being there 24/7. And it's basically more traffic they would be bringing in than we would be bringing in. And there's a business being held there now, 24/7. I wouldn't see a definite impact on being more, hectic for anybody.
That's all the questions I have at the moment.
Tom, do you have any questions?
Bobby, you want to take?
What?
Sure, I can start off.
Okay, Bill.
Forward,
Talking about the garage first. If you take it over, I presume that virtually all of your storage will be inside. I mean, you'll have the dumpster outside, but you're not going to store probably flooring materials or carpets outside. Would that be
No.
correct?
Uh-uh.
One of the issues that I would have, and that does seem as though that would be something that would be a reasonable use, but on the other hand, if it goes to another type of contractor, if it's passed down from there, an electrical contractor or a plumbing contractor, or especially a landscaper, with all that open, that could be an issue. I mean, it seems like, okay, this might be less restrictive, as your counselor, I'm sure, has said that, that this is something that we can, it's the same type of use as it was before, but it won't necessarily be if certain other contractors get in. And I know that you would like to have it so that you could have someone else use it without going through this process again, but I'm not sure that necessarily they both be, I think we may be talking apples and oranges here, depending on the type of business that comes in. Not all contractors are equal, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying for, as in sales and having stuff in the back and like that. I actually live on the street, so I wouldn't want that either. So.
Would you be amenable to restrictions on any agreement that might be made?
If anybody, yeah, if you believe you have to put that on there, that's fine.
What Mr. Hart's asking is with regard to restrictions on outdoor storage of contract materials.
Yes, that's fine.
That would pass down to any future people that you rented it to?
Yes.
On the other building, and unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with that building as I should be. And I guess it's unfortunate, you've got a small unit with 2 bathrooms, and then a big unit that right now doesn't have any, that has to have one built in, and then the 3rd unit up on top. Have you given any thought to consolidating some of those in a way that instead of going for a triplex, a duplex? Would there be a way to make that work?
No, I actually wanted to do even more, but I don't want to, put too much crammed in, you know what I mean, on it.
Can you repeat what you just said?
Actually, I want to make more units into the building, but I don't want to make it cram, like you just said, cram too much in, like have an additional unit or additional five units in it, and the building itself. Instead of just three. Three would be the max in there. Not, I want to do like 5 units, but I don't think that's gonna, I'm not gonna be doing that, so.
You didn't think that would fly?
Yeah, that would fly, so.
Again, I'm not really familiar with the property. The unit on the bottom, the small unit, why is that? What is the reason that is so small compared with the other two?
I think that's the original part of the building. I'm almost 100%. That's how the building started, and I guess maybe there's one little section behind that, but that's the original part. Everything else is a lot of additions added on it. That's the way the building was shaped. It was a school at one time, and electrical union, meeting room there, so.
I don't know if you can, just looking at your diagrams, if you can make this clear to me. Can you point out, for example, the kitchen in the lower unit? What's on top of that, say in the middle unit?
Well, on top of that would be the upper unit, the very first unit.
Specifically what?
Oh, okay.
Of the second unit.
Um,
I'm sorry, you're referencing a room in the third floor, bottom floor?
The bottom
The smallest
floor.
one.
And
Right.
you wanted to know, in what room are you referencing? I apologize.
The kitchen area between the two
kitchen area
bathrooms?
On the bottom floor, you wanted to know what is specifically above that. Does these line up?
No, it's all different levels.
I guess that's what I was trying
Yeah,
to get
it's
at.
the
Is there
top-
any
upper level,
way that you
upper-
could?
It's the upper level. So there's actually 2 lower levels, and then there's an upper level. So the very bottom one, the top of that will be the upper level. And then there's a lower, medium, and then upper. You're only going up a couple steps, but it actually is 3 levels on it.
Okay. So there really wouldn't be any way that you could combine two different, especially level, the bottom level and the middle level into
Yeah.
one unit?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure, go ahead.
Did you have an architect come in and tell you the best way to use this building?
No. No, I
So
haven't.
this is all your own?
Yes, it is. I had a neighbor help me out. He's a little bit into architectural, but he's not a professional architect. So.
Who's hitting the microphone? That's him?
Yeah, sorry about that.
I'm sorry, Bob.
No, I think I'm done for now anyway. Tom?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's go back to the levels. This building's throwing me way off.
Yeah.
These diagrams are throwing me way off.
All right.
When I moved down here in '67, I was fortunate enough to join the Lower Providence Ambulance. And we were pulling out of the garage at that time, and then we moved into this building. But something's got me here. I always remembered the room where we used to go, and we didn't have all this stuff in there. I mean, we had a cot. We didn't even have a cot. We took the ambulances home with us, and we ran from the house. But we used to have, I don't even remember having the TV there, but we had a couple chairs, and we had the radio and so on and so forth. What's throwing me off is this apartment C, the lower level. I only remember I only remember the ready room and the room above it. Now, there was another room above that that they used to store records in and everything else. It was like a, that's not your third floor, is it?
Now, if you put the aerial picture back on, the one that shows the outside, this one I'll show. The lower level, where the breezeway is, where they have the breezeway connected to the two buildings.
That was the ready room.
Yeah, that you enter the lower level right there.
That was the ready
smaller
room.
one.
Okay.
That's the one we're talking about, the smaller unit.
Okay, now that's where the ready room is right now for the EMTs and the other
We're
people,
using
right?
that as like a TV room and
Right,
office.
right,
and
okay.
everything.
That's the lower level.
That's the very lower level.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, the next level I remember is the one where they vote.
No, you're
That's-
missing one. You're missing one. The upper level is the.
I can't visualize that. Honest to God, I can't.
That's the sleeping quarters. That's,
There was an addition put on that building,
Yeah.
correct, in the 80s?
that's the addition. If you go to page, apartment B, that's the one you can't visualize, correct?
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't visualize that. Man, I'm way off on that one. All right, let's go back to where I want to go then. On your apartment A,
Yeah.
you have on there addition of 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
You're saying that what size are those bedrooms going to be?
Roughly 15 by 20.
Now, that's going to extend out onto the paper street, right?
No, there's no outside building, right? This is all inside, there's no outside work to be done. This is
Before
it now.
I asked the same question. You're going to put interior walls up,
Yeah.
build those bedrooms.
Well,
Inside.
see, these diagrams aren't doing too much for me. I'm sorry, there's no sizes on there, you have here, you said, only add to the current structure. Now, adding to the current structure would tell me that what you're doing is you're going out. So the exit you show on that A is where the people come in to vote?
They used
That's
to.
where the steps are, the 3, 4 steps?
Well, yes, they can go that way, but normally when they come to vote.
I know,
come
they
to
use the ramp, I understand
That's
that.
the exit over there.
But that exit that you show on there right now is coming into where they vote.
Yes,
So what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be cutting that hall then in half.
there's no cutting or anything, everything stays exactly the way it is now.
But
That's-
I understand that, but what I'm talking is you're gonna de-size that meeting room to put in 2 15 by 20 bedrooms. Okay. And then the bedroom on the other side, is that it?
That's already there, that's, you're using it as an office now.
Okay.
Everything else is there.
All those are there on apartment A.
Yeah, everything's there.
The
Okay.
kitchen and the 2 baths are already there.
Everything's exactly the way it is right now.
All right, now you got me A now. Where's B? Middle level. That's where I can't comprehend on that. I'm sorry.
It is confusing, but it's different levels, but if you go from the apartment, where we'll start from apartment A, and if you see entrance, exit,
Yes.
okay, that, if you go through those doors, you go down the steps towards the basement, the lower level. All right, that's where you get apartment B, where the exit and the entrance is. All right. If you're coming from First Street, put the street up. There's a front door there, you would walk down the steps. You got steps when you first walk up, open the door from the front door from First Street, from Hillside.
That's
Walk
where you
in,
got
go
the steps.
upstairs,
Okay.
You go up to apartment A, then you walk down 6 steps would be apartment B. That's where apartment B entrance is. If you're on apartment B page, that's where the entrance or exit.
But it would have its own entrance.
Yes.
That's exit, entrance C and B, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
That's
you
the
go down
front of the
steps.
building.
Yes, sir.
That's where the flagpole is.
Yep. If
Okay.
you go up, you'll go hit a building, A unit. If you go down, you'll hit the B unit, what we're talking about.
And then the lower level, you go in from where they go in now, on the side underneath the canopy?
There's 2 ways in there. The entrance way is the front door and to the left.
You're talking about the third,
The lower level.
C?
Apartment C, Mike.
Yeah. That there, you go in the same way from the front door down the hallway, entrance is apartment C.
Oh, Mr. Moore, if you look at the second page, if you look at B, look at B.
It'll say entrance C.
Okay.
Can we go ahead and explain that?
Where it said exit entrance C
Yeah.
and the
that's it.
exit entrance B.
Yes, sir.
All right, now if you put them to the side with C, C and B, that exit entrance B is the same exit entrance that's on C?
Yes, yep. You'll go down the hallway and get to that unit if you wanted to, or go around, where it has on the, where, apartment C exit or entrance.
All right, so the people that live in apartment C and apartment B and apartment A won't be getting into each other's rooms, right?
No.
No
it's all
apartments would all be,
Yeah,
all secure.
yes, sir.
You're not the only one, believe me, there's plans coming up here that,
All right.
God. All right, I'm gonna stay with you now. You say you have 6 crews, 2 in a crew, 4 full-time. And they're gonna be all subcontractors. Okay, and they'll be coming in and out, you say they're coming in at 7 o'clock in the morning, leaving at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 days a week.
Well, they'll be coming around 7 o'clock in the morning, leaving in about an hour.
Okay.
Personally.
And they coming back,
They don't come back till the next day to load up their, basically, they're only there just to load up and get their paperwork for their job.
So, Mr. Moore, I'm going to clarify, Mr. Myers, so your subcontractors come there in the morning, they load up any carpet or whatever they need as far as that goes, this is how it currently operates, and then they leave in their own trucks, and then from the projects or from the job, they just go home, right? Thank you.
Tom, can I jump in just for a second?
Yeah,
with a
go ahead,
question?
Bobby.
Right now, where do those subcontractors show up every morning? At your warehouse in Oaks or at your,
Yes, sir. At
Okay.
Oaks, yes, yeah.
so they don't come to your current
No,
location? And
no. Once in a while I get it paid, but usually I just bring the checks there too. so.
Okay, that's great. I just wanted to check on that. Thank you.
And can I follow up on that? So are you a jobber, or are these contractors your permanent contractors? Do they come and kind of bid for the job?
I know, these guys have been working for me for years.
So they're the
So-
same consistent people?
Yes, yeah. So. Most of them work for me well over 5 to 10 years, actually, so.
I have are you done, Tom?
No, ma'am.
Go ahead.
But you can butt in anytime, Nance, if you like.
I have a question before we get past the garage again. Do any of the contractors leave their vehicles there?
No. No, ma'am.
Okay, and you have what, a truck?
I have, yeah, I have a car. I don't really have the van either anymore.
I mean,
but
would you
I have
be-
a car.
Would you be leaving your vehicle there?
I'm actually walking distance, so.
I know, that's why I
yeah.
asked.
Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe you
It's
could
not
leave a car
40
there.
feet long, is it?
Yeah. So, right there, so.
And I have another question for you about the
Okay.
garage. Do you do external shampooing? Like if I have a nice big oriental rug and you're going to shampoo it,
We don't do carpet cleaning.
you don't do
No,
carpet cleaning?
just, so,
Okay.
my business is mostly insulated related. I don't get involved in sales. I'm an insulated company. I do work for Lowe's. I'm at 14 different stores, plus I'm in a real estate. I have 9 different properties, so.
All right, so you
I
don't actually sell
We're
it?
insulation only. I don't get involved in sales, so there's not gonna
Okay.
be people
that-
coming there to buy stuff or.
That took
or
care of those
back with the
questions.
landscaping thing, there's not gonna be piles of, if a landscaper went in there, it won't be selling, it would be storage of trucks or something like that in the back, and if anything, so.
Okay, I was really interested in what that could develop into, but the ambulance has been a low-keyed neighbor
Yep.
in that area. And I think the neighbors were all low-keyed too. But,
Once everybody's loaded up in the morning, it's just, there's nobody there.
Right.
I mean, we have a periodically, you get a delivery once in a while, but as of that, there's nobody, there's not in and out, constant in and out kind of thing. It's in the morning, load up, that's it, and then Maybe once or twice we get a delivery, and once a week I usually get a pad delivery. The guy comes with the padding, we unload it, and that's it, and he goes. People are there maybe 20 minutes at a time. It's not like they're a hangout or a full-time thing going on in there, so.
I have to comment on the fact that in the future, a different type of contractor might want to move in. And going along with Bob's comment, they're not as all the low key as yours sounds. I mean, it could be a plumber or an electrician or a builder.
Yeah.
And a landscaper. They all have heavy equipment. And that's heavier than what that use has been all these years. I mean, the ambulances even were in the garage. So that's what we don't want to hurt that area in putting something that really could progress into that. That's why all the questions.
If you want to put a stipulation, no heavy equipment or industrial type of equipment.
But we can't, yeah.
I agree with what I'm saying. I don't want that.
Okay, Tom, go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right, no, butt in anytime, Nance, that's
Okay.
fine. Or jump in anytime, I didn't mean butt in, I'm sorry.
You were getting too far away from it,
Okay.
still in the houses there.
Let's see, my other question is, are all your contractors bonded?
Yes, they are.
Every one of them's bonded? Everyone's bonded, okay. And our solicitor asked you about having...
Not only that, the background check. I do work with those, we have to do background check and license. And 90% of my work is coming from where I.
Can't hear you.
Mostly 90.
Turn that on,
Is that on?
because you're on TV too.
Yeah, famous.
Famous.
But 90% of my work comes from loads. We have to be insured and background checked, so it's all that.
I guess you did a commercial for Lowe's there.
There you go. So,
Our solicitor asked you about propane. You said you will be having a forklift truck.
Yes, sir.
You will also have glues and stuff like that in the garage also?
not really, just mostly just padding and carpet, no glue or anything.
You won't be
like
gluing carpet
Some
down?
laminate. We get involved in tiles, any flooring aspect to households, tile, laminate.
We don't store supplies. We don't store supplies like that.
There, so. You have trouble with this.
Take a break for a microphone fix there.
What about that one there, Rachel? Just pull it out. Now you can be like the Bee Gees.
Okay.
See if that's better.
Testing.
There you go.
Good. Okay, Tom?
No, we don't store that type of material there.
All right, now, I have one other question, and I'm going to bounce it to Nancy. You stated to our solicitor, let me get back on this here. Do you have this map in front of you, please? Yes. Or you can use the colored one, either one, Mike.
Yeah, I have it in front of me.
All right. Now, the lots in question on the parking is 57, 58, and 59, right?
Yes.
And 60 was in question, we don't know who owns that, correct?
I believe, Mr. McGuire, I believe the community center owns that. When I asked Mr. Meyer about it, he thought it was part of the transaction, but it that's not referred to in the agreement. So he's going to have to deal with the community center with regard to that. In any event, the property which is subject to this application is the ones that are joined in this one parcel.
All right,
Yeah,
then-
60 is a vacant land.
all right, let's go next door to that on Second Street then. You say 66 is yours,
Yes, sir.
67 is
Yes.
yours?
Yes. I don't think there's anything corporate.
These two, could you move over?
Yes. I own 3 houses in a row.
So you're
The
saying...
lots are different, a little weird. They
I
split off
understand that,
somewhere.
but what I'm
Okay.
trying to get at, do you own 68, 67, 66?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what's going to keep you, if they're, are they empty?
They're-
They buildable lots, are there anybody on it now, or are they just empty lots?
They're not lots, they're actually houses.
They're houses there?
Yes.
Okay. What's going to keep you from trying to come back out onto those 58, 58, and 57? Letting people have driveways come into that?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, I wanted to bring it out and fence it in. It's already fenced right now. The aerial picture to show you on there.
All right, so you're saying that
Yeah.
there's no possibility that 68, 67, or 66 will ever come over to 59, 58, and 57?
That's right. Right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Nancy, if you want to go ahead.
That's.
Thank you.
That, I have those marked on my paper. That's an opportunity there.
Well, while you're looking, then let me ask you another question, Mr. Myers, if I may. You stated that Mole's Flowers was on Hillside, and you said a building across from them also had their access on the hillside, is that
Yes.
correct? What's that, a real estate office there across from them?
It's a multi thing. They have a studio, so it's like apartments up top, on the bottom is a studio. Up front is I think a stamp place that does printing. In front is a massage type thing.
Okay. Now, on these subcontractors that are working for you, with this layout of this building, where you have the one bedroom, are you going to be moving your subcontractors into those apartments?
Yes, sir.
Because-
Are they going to be living there?
Yeah, because you said you wanted to keep the canopy between the two buildings, going from the garage to the other building. And I'm just wondering, why would you want the canopy?
Well, it's
If
like,
you got people living there that wasn't going to be working for you, that wanted to go into the garage.
yeah, it's just a breezeway. I just attached to both roofs. If I take it off, they have to fix the roofs and everything. It's just like,
I'd much rather see it there too, because then a car can't drive down through there,
Yeah,
or a
that too.
truck can't
That
come
too,
down through
yes.
there. Okay. All right, thank you. Nancy,
All right.
thanks.
Do you have any more?
I have just a couple of further questions. On the property, to the right of the property there on that map, now that actually is the paper street, First Street, that goes back along the side of the property?
yes, it is.
And you remember offhand how close you are to the technical boundaries of the
Of the papers?
Yeah.
of the paper street? I'm just
As soon as
curious.
we're done.
This is this First Street. and,
Right.
That's the paper street.
This grass right here, you see right here?
Uh-huh.
Where the first house, that's actually part of the paper street, all the way up.
And is some of the paving on the paper street?
Yes.
Yes,
Because, I mean, obviously, your neighbor there is actually going up and driving on that to pull into his,
exactly right. He has to go drive through the paper street, or if he has to go through her grass, but technically, that grass there is the paper street. But she's using it for, grass. He would have to go through the paper street to get to his driveway.
so the only way to the back of your property is technically on the paper street?
No,
No?
No, there's an entranceway, it's not that wide, I mean, it's like 20
Okay.
feet or so.
Is it
From
that
here to
wide?
here,
Okay.
Is the same width as basically over here.
So you're saying that what's paved there isn't actually the paper street? I thought the paper street actually covered part of what is paved there.
It like angles out this way, it curves.
Okay.
So there's space here, and then the paper street starts about here over this way. His driveway here, parking lot, is technically doesn't start till here, but it is concrete here.
Okay.
So like 10 feet or whatever.
I was just curious, paper streets are
And it goes all the way up, and then the first.
strange anomaly.
So you have First Street here, and it goes up, and then it continues again with a normal street.
I guess there's no chance on the paper street ever becoming a real street. Getting back to your business again, and it does appear that for most of the day, there'll be very little activity there. But I'm thinking, you do have your neighbors to the, looking at that map, which obviously is not aligned with the right directions, but to the left and across the street, there are some houses there. And you will have trucks coming in at 7 a.m., which to someone like myself who's now retired and likes to sleep late, that's a little early. Will those trucks be, what is the level of activity that the neighbors could expect? How much noise would there be?
Not much. I mean, they're just loading up and they're out of there. Maybe under an hour. When I go load them up, I'm there. I get there around 7. I'm out of there like 7:30.
So all the trucks show up at once, basically, and kind of wait their turn to,
They might, if it's raining or something, they might cut the rug there. It might take a little longer than expected, but depending on weather and everything, they're not there that long.
I'm just trying to think of any ways that might ameliorate the inconveniences to your neighbors. There don't appear to be too many that are that close, but I think there's at least one house there. All right, thank you.
Okay.
I have a couple more. You're keeping your warehouse in Oaks,
No. No, ma'am.
and you do a lot of work for the box stores, so they send the carpets to your garage, so to speak, and then your workers come and get it from there?
Yes.
And do you know the front dimensions of the building?
The parking?
Building?
The building itself?
Yes,
Which building?
the community center, not the garage, the other building.
Where's these other papers we have? I should. You don't have one with you? Oh, here it is, 223 feet. The building itself,
Yes,
you're talking about?
yes.
I don't have exactly what the dimensions are, but there are roughly 50 by 70, if you go from front to back and everything. That's building itself. I'm not sure if you're parking or just building itself. The actual building is,
Just talking about the building, because you're saying you're making 2 bedrooms 15 by 20, and then you have a living room in the middle.
oh, you're talking about the apartment?
Yeah, I'm talking about the building.
Yeah, it's roughly about 50 by 70, 50 by 60 building itself. You can measure from one end to the other, from up, back and forth, length and width of it. Is that what you're saying, length and width?
Right. So I'm somewhat familiar with that building, and I didn't think it was that big.
Yeah, it's 5,000 square feet, so, inside. There's other pictures.
Are you gonna have the property surveyed so you know exactly about that paper street?
I already did that years ago, so I would somewhat know with the paper street where it continues and everything.
But you wouldn't have had this particular property surveyed.
Well, I had the fence, when I had the fence put back, we had all of it surveyed, and the community center had it surveyed, I think 7 years ago.
So then the paper street should be really defined.
It's just an entrance and exit and entrance to the community and the people living next door. The
I
paper street itself, so.
I I understand that, but somewhere there's ownership. So I was wondering where the line of ownership was.
Of where the community center is?
The paper street,
Where?
where the community center owns to the paper street.
Got it. To the end of their parking lot, right there, is where the end, I mean, they're right there on the money too.
But
Going
you-
straight down.
You know that from,
From where I put my fence and where they had a survey when they were selling the place or looking to, I think they were supposed to build something. They were gonna stay there and put an addition, but this was like 5 years ago, whatever. And
So
the guy
is
surveyed
it-
my property, on the corner of my property, it was right there on the end there.
is it pinned in the back, you know, is it pinned anywhere?
It's not anymore, because they had redone the back area, 56, where the grass is, where we had questions about. That
So-
was all woods, and they cleared it all out, so.
Are you gonna restrict the neighbor facing the community center to the right from using that driveway to still get back to their?
Oh, absolutely not. You talk about this neighborhood
Right.
parking? Oh, no, this is, I don't own this, no one does, it's paper street.
Well, I realize that,
Yeah.
but it can encroach and make bad neighbors, so I just wanna be sure.
Yeah, no, he has access to this, and I just purchased this part over here. It's under agreement, but I didn't,
You mean where that blue sign was?
yeah, yeah.
I was gonna ask you about that. I saw that.
Yeah, did you see that? Yeah.
It's, 6,800 square feet there,
Yeah,
170 by 40.
yeah, it's under agreement. I
What-
haven't put
what-
money down, but we decided on a price.
What parcel is that?
That's the one that was on it.
That's one right here. This guy who lives 2 doors down, he has to come down hillside, make a right, his driveway's right here. His piece of land is right next to it.
So like 7, 6, and 7.
You see units 6 and 7 on the tax block?
I believe so. One second. I'll make sure. That's the one. No, it'd be 5
5,
on the paper.
right.
6 and 7 is, I'm sorry.
No,
it
it's
is-
7.
It is,
It's 7.
to make sure
Yeah,
I'm
because it's
This is
171,
7.
171 by 40. That would be 7.
It's actually 6 and part of 5. So if you look at 18 to the right of that, it has 18, 19, and 20. I don't know how they did it. It's very confusing the way they did it, but I think it's 18, 19, almost 100%, so it's 18, 19, part of number 5.
Rachel, excuse me, do you have the colored map?
There.
Yes. Right. The property you're talking about is right next to the driveway.
He lives here.
No, go,
Okay.
right there.
Yeah.
Now, the property where the trees are,
Yeah.
that's where you just purchased?
Yes.
Just the one lot?
It's under agreement. Yeah.
Just the one lot?
Yes.
What do you plan on doing with that?
I don't know, just purchased it. He had it for sale, so I'm not sure. It's all wooded right now. I don't plan on doing anything right now. I don't plan on doing anything.
Let it down to these.
That's all I have, Nancy.
Okay, thank you.
It's like eating potato chips, Mr. Mayor. I got a couple questions. The deliveries. How often during a week would you have deliveries made to the property?
If I'd have to say, maybe once a day,
And
so twice maybe.
is the vehicle that would be making the deliveries, can we describe that as either a box truck or as a tractor trailer?
Could be either one, depending on the company. During the week, maybe 5 to 10 times during the week.
5 to 10 times during the week,
During
so
the
it could be
week.
once or twice a day.
Sometimes they don't show up at all. I'm gonna say at the most, 5 to 10.
Do they come from Lowe's? Are they Lowe's
Yeah,
trucks?
they're manufacturers from wherever they purchase the property from the customer.
All right, and are they local drivers, or are they coming from out of state?
I would believe Jersey, out of state.
All right, before we turn it over to see if there's questions from the community, do you need a break? No? Do you need a break? Oh, okay. Sorry.
All this carpet's gonna be delivered. Sorry. All this carpet's gonna be delivered by tractor trailers or vans. Pictures you show, that shows the 4 ambulances inside the garage. That's a pretty big garage. You're not gonna be storing carpet at all? If it's gonna be delivered per house. In other words, if I go to Lowe's and I buy carpet from Lowe's, and they set you up as the contractor, they sent the carpet to your place, correct?
Yes,
And then you come install in my home.
yes.
So there'll be no storage of carpet at all in the garage then?
Yeah, well, when they deliver it, we have to store it until they're ready for the install for that day.
But you're only
It could be
storing
sitting there for a week, or it could be sitting there for 2 days
for one family?
for one family.
So you're storing just one family at a time then?
No, it could be,
Excuse me,
you mean-
if I'm asking stupid questions here, why don't you people come up and sit up here then? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Excuse me, I was just commenting, I don't think you're stupid at all, and we weren't.
Thank you, Eileen.
Not at all.
We served together many years. Go ahead.
It might be stored there for a few jobs for the, for a week. We might get 20 jobs for a week, so maybe 20 different families' carpets are going to be in there.
So you'll have sort of like on racks and you'll have
Yeah,
the
we'll have
carpet
racks
stacked
and-
up?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, my other question, I have one more question and I'm going to shut up. The house that's next to the garage, I know the people that's running the ambulances, they don't turn the sirens on until they hit the ridge.
Yes.
I mean, they're very courteous about that, waking people up. What about the trucks banging doors? I'm like Bob, I'm retired too, and I like sleeping beyond 7 o'clock in the morning, because I stay up till 12 watching the late news.
Yeah.
But, I don't like people slamming doors, or, I spent many times on the road with people slamming motel doors. So have you talked to the guy that lives next door to you?
No, she actually is right behind us, so.
Oh,
she
good.
usually has some questions.
Good, I'm glad that she's here, and she can answer all the slam doors that I won't be able to answer.
Like I said, I live on that block, so if there's any issues at all, I have to deal with it. And I don't, my guys are really pretty respectful, so there's not going to be loud music.
And I have one other question, then I'll zip it, okay?
I know they're anxious to ask their questions out there.
I understand, but we're still early, it's only 10 to 9.
I
We were here till
Has nothing
11:30
to
the
do
last
with
meeting,
10 to
Nancy,
9,
Paula
Tom.
fingers were
It's,
sore.
I could see them fidgeting around, they want to ask.
Michael, on the application, it states here, the applicant must provide a signed and notarized letter from the property owner stating his or her permission to allow the applicant to represent the property owner at the zoning hearing board with the zoning appeal. We don't have anything like that in front of us.
The agreement is sale whereby he's the equitable owner of the property, which gives him standing.
Do we have that in our book? Do we have that in here?
The agreement, yeah, it's under tab 4. The agreement is redacted.
And the seller's initials JA?
It appears to be the president's signature on page 9. Mr. Meyer, is that the president's signature of Oak Island Community Center? On page 9?
Okay. So I'm sure if she signed it, then the board approved it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Fury, I think the reason Tom brought that up, that it does suffice, but it really does not do what the application is asking people to do. And we're trying to bring things back a bit more into conformity. And I think the ambulance group would have no problem doing that letter. So if you could do that for us, in addition to giving us the agreement.
Oh, surely.
Okay, good.
Yeah, sure, we can get a letter from the community center.
Good.
All right, can we now ask the audience if they,
Joe?
No,
Oh.
I was going to do the exact same thing.
okay,
This
Mr. Fiore, can you just quiz your client on the extension of the permit period that your client is requesting? Can you just elaborate on that for the board?
Oh, that's my usual request. You know, I usually just request to give the applicant time to do whatever he needs to do in order to pull permits. And what I usually ask for is just to extend the term of the Permit Extension Act. And the Permit Extension Act term goes July of 2016. Some zoning hearing boards, and I don't know how the Lower Providence is dealing with it as far as that goes, they require you to come back and ask for extension, even though the Permit Extension Act would extend you to July 1 of 2016. So what I usually do is when I file an application, I automatically ask for the approval to be good for as long as the Permit Extension Act permits, which will be July 1 of 2016.
If Mr. Meyer goes forward, what permits does he need?
I don't think, just maybe it's on the upper level, I'm gonna be making it 2 bedrooms up there. Might have to permit the drywall, electrical drywalls, take permits. No outside or building, being built.
What they're asking for is, do you need the additional time that I ordinarily request, or will you get all your permits pulled within the year?
I would assume within a year after it's purchased, we don't know exactly what it's gonna be, but they didn't break ground yet, so. We're under agreement to not to wait till the finished building.
That may be the issue.
Part of the problem is that they have, the community center has the ability under the agreement, if you see the last paragraph, to extend settlement until such time that they move into their other.
Is there any limit on that under the agreement? Can they just continue to extend?
It says seller may unilaterally extend the date of settlement any number of times until such time as construction of this new building located at 3323 Ridge Pike, Eagleville is completed and occupied by site.
Okay, so occupancy of that building is really the only limit on the agreement of sale. Occupancy of the
Yeah.
new building on a different site is the limit on the agreement of sale.
And they're allowed to remain a tenant under this, for this property, until such time.
So it's on that basis that he's asking for the extension.
So that's why, if he was ready to go now, he would only take a year, but if the community center needs another year, then he may not be able to pull permits for a year, 18 months. So that's why I usually request, because like I said, the Permit Extension Act is in effect in Pennsylvania. Whatever approvals you give should be good until July 1, 2016 anyway. Having said that, the boards often require you to come back or request extensions and whatnot, and just eliminate the issue. I just usually, and always, pretty much always ask for all approvals to be in accordance with the Permit Extension Act currently in Pennsylvania.
So you'd be okay, if the board were inclined to grant that, you'd be okay if it mirrored the exact same extension as the Permit Extension Act?
Yeah, that'd be July.
So that would be the limit.
2016, yeah. We don't expect that.
I hope not.
No, that would be fine.
So what you're telling me, Michael, and if we agree with the 6 months, they don't have to come back after that 6 months and ask for another extension?
Well, you know, my argument, quite frankly, Mr. Barr, is under the Permit Extension Act, once you grant approval, that approval is good until July 1, 2016, and all that I should have to do is write to the township, and pay a fee, usually $50 or $100, and the township should write me a letter saying, your permits and approvals are good until July 1, 2016. I find that in some townships, they still require you to come back to the zoning hearing board for a hearing to request an extension, and just in order to save the client's money, and because the Permit Extension Act is in effect, I just automatically request that in pretty much every application I file.
Well, I won't be here, so that's great. Rachel, can you help me out a little bit? What permits will he be needing? Seeing he's going to go in and he's going to be tearing the inside of the building up and everything else, what's basic?
Like plumbing, if you're putting in a bathroom.
Plumbing permits,
electrical.
electrical permits, everything, right?
Yeah.
Internal, I mean,
Okay.
like you said, maybe mechanical, I don't know if he's adding any AC or.
Basically, yeah, it's plumbing and electrical.
All right, well, you're the expert, that's the reason I'm asking. Thank you.
Okay, can we get to the audience now?
Oh, I hate to do this. I am so sorry. I know we're all
You
here
don't
late.
hate it at all, I can
But
tell.
I just wanted, and this just occurred to me, and perhaps it's a self-evident question. But if part of the property does revert to residential, and it's in an R2 zoning, which I believe it is, does it just follow naturally that we would be, with a special exception, doing away with the permeability? Because obviously, most of that is paved, so it's not going to satisfy the R2.
We have existing non-conforming condition in reference to
Yeah, would that apply as well, if it reverts back to a residential use? Is that your belief?
that. And I think that with respect to it, what's there may remain there. I don't think it's going to be required to be taken out.
It would be similar to, I don't know what the front yard is in the R2, but if this were too close to the street, it could convert into a residential use. It wouldn't then require them to move the building back because it's too close to the street, because it's now in R2. So I think I'd have to agree with Mr. Fury's characterization of the impervious surface that currently exists on the property.
I just wanted to check on that, and I guess it was an unnecessary question. Sorry, Nancy.
I'm afraid to say all right.
I get one more than.
Does anyone in the audience want to ask, no, they want to testify first, right?
Well,
How did you
I
say
would-
you do
I
it?
would say, does anyone have a question of Mr. Meyer first? And
Okay.
then after that's finished, if anyone has any testimony that they wish to give.
All I would ask is if anybody has questions, if they just state their name, their address, and where their property is located in proximity to the property.
Yeah.
And if we may have some issues as to whether that person could actually be a party or not, so.
Yeah, we have a tablet to get names and addresses for anyone that calls under that. All right, who's the first question here? You have to give us your name and address.
My ad hoc form.
Well, I think, is that an entry of appearance form?
Usually I have it in a folder. I don't have it in
Mr.
my
Bailey, would you like to explain the difference between entering appearance as a party and not, or do you want me to?
Yeah, let me just find out her name first. Could you just step to the microphone and identify yourself?
My legal name is Margaret Henry. My legal name is Margaret Henry. I go by Maggie. I am the house with the red roof to the left of the garage.
Okay.
117 Hillside Avenue.
And for your benefit, Ms. Henry, and for the audience's benefit, it's my understanding that it's the custom that the board allows the community to ask questions. There are a distinction between two different types of people. One is somebody who wishes to be a party to the case. A party can have appeal rights, can have a right to a copy of the decision, and has the right to introduce evidence. And then there's non-parties, somebody who simply wants to ask a question or make a statement. Is there a difference between which you want to be, Ms. Henry? Do you want to be a party, or do you simply want to be a member of the community who asks questions?
I'm thinking B, option
Okay.
B.
Okay,
I do have questions, and I also have things I want to say.
okay.
Okay?
But not as a party.
But not as a party. That's the way we understand.
Sure.
But now, at this point in time, it's just questions for Mr. Meyer.
Okay. Okay. Can I use the pointer?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you stated that there's parking on the side of the community center, which I believe you were saying is right there, correct?
Yeah.
And you're saying that you think there's 6 spots there?
At least 6 spots.
So what you're believing is that the cars would park this way, correct?
They do now. There's some spots that are parking.
So my question to you is, have you ever parked there?
Personally?
Yes,
No.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes. When you park, that spot right there is not wide enough for your car to go this way without the back end being into the paper street, blocking the alley.
Ms.
So
Henry, let me just explain something to you. Since this is just the time to ask Mr. Meyer
Okay.
questions, and you're not, were you sworn?
No.
Then the statement you're giving really isn't worth
Okay.
anything, but the questions
Until later?
are.
Oh, okay.
So if you want to at a later time, you can enter as a party and give testimony. But
Okay.
right now's the time to ask Mr. Meyer questions.
Okay, no problem. The other question I have is for the parking for the apartments. Are you going to restrict where they're allowed to park?
I believe so, once I get it all straightened out.
And where would you believe that restriction to be?
Mostly all in the back area.
Okay. In regard to the apartments, are you planning on doing anything of restricting access from the apartment building along the side here to the garage? Like, are you thinking of putting up fencing or something so that
No.
the tenants are only on their side of the property?
No.
Okay. Okay. Now, I have to make a statement in order to ask my next question. Is that okay?
Actually, we're going to ask you to wait to do that.
After all the
Okay.
questions
We're going
are
to ask
asked.
questions of Mr. Meyer first.
Okay.
And then we're going to allow anyone who wishes to make a statement to make a statement.
Okay.
Okay.
So then my next question, I guess, is currently maintenance of the grass on the property, I know is being done. Is that going to continue?
Oh, yeah, there's not much grass there, it's a little patch.
Okay, so right along here is grass, which is part of the property of what we're talking about. And that is also currently being maintained and mowed.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue?
Yeah, it's only 3 foot, and it's, well, it goes down to your place.
Right, down into the gully.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, okay. I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who has questions of Mr. Meyer? Yes, ma'am.
This lady was president of the ambulance corps for years.
I am a non-party person. Just a few comments.
Could you just identify yourself for the record?
Oh, forgot that part. I'm Eileen Kuntz, K-U-N-T-Z. It's 1106 Paulings Road, Audubon. I have been an active member of the organization that owns the property since 1976. For the upstairs area, the meeting room, for 12 years I taught CPR with classes of 28 to 30 people. Our senior citizens meet there once a week. There are...
Ms. Kunz, can I interrupt you?
Sure.
As I said earlier, this is a point where we're asking Mr. Meyer questions. If you
Oh.
wish to make a statement, there's going to be an opportunity for you to do that, okay?
Thank you.
Sure. Is there anyone else who has a question for Mr. Meyer? So we can, yes, ma'am.
My name is Sharon Hunley, but I go by Sherry. And I own the house that has the driveway in the back.
Ms. Hunley, do you wish to be a party, or do you wish to simply
Well, right
ask
now, I just
questions?
want to ask questions,
Fine.
because I don't know what's going through his mind. I've lived there for 11, 12 years now, and, well, first of all, when you said you purchased the back lot, that just scared me, because I'm afraid you're going to change it into whatever.
I talked to your husband.
My boyfriend?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, he like the beers and all that.
Yes. Another thing is, in the back where, on election days, people would park at the end of my driveway, the paper road, because it is the paper road, which would inconvenience me a lot, sorry. And I was just wondering if there's going to be tractor trailers back there, if there's going to be, you have 3 apartments, you have all those bedrooms, if they're going to be all grown people with cars, is that going to inconvenience me?
Everybody's set rules for where they can park, and only where they can park. There's no other parking, especially exactly, I know exactly what you're talking about, you have the days of where the corner is.
Yes.
You're talking about, you will be asking no parking at that spot. She's talking about this spot here. Right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll take steps to make sure that your
Howard.
tenants and your workers do not block her access to her.
Okay.
Remember, I did. right there,
Yeah, I know.
and
Yeah.
I've been there for over 25 years.
Okay.
So
Oh, okay.
I have a lot of stuff for.
I'm nervous, I'm sorry. And on the lowest level, my daughter wants to find an apartment. Are there windows?
I believe there's two where the kitchen area is. I don't know if they showed you the diagram up there. There's two windows going out.
Oh, okay.
There's steps that go up to 2 bedrooms in the kitchen area there, and there's 2 little windows that go shoot up.
Okay. If you have your tractor trailers deliver stuff out front, if they back in, there's the beep beep factor, because they're backing in. Will they be actually off of the street? Is it long enough that they can actually pull in all the way and be off the street?
Yeah, well, the guy that lives over here,
Yeah.
he has one of those really big.
Yeah, I know, but,
He does it, and he backs into this way. So I plan them to just go forward and back right into there, like that.
but will the
Yeah.
tractor part of the tractor trailer be off the street?
No, it should stop right there. They want- they-
She asked would it be off the street, you're saying?
Yes, it'll be off the street.
Oh, okay, I didn't know how long it was. What else I want to ask you? I guess I can't ask you about the lot back there yet. The houses, or the apartments, they won't have a backyard, right? Unless they use that non-developed.
No, that's not bad.
Okay. All right, well, I guess that's all I have to ask. Thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Mr. Meyer, do the ambulances have the OSHA backup for
Beeping?
rear beeping? They do. And you said you've lived in your residence for 25 years?
Yes.
Is there anyone else who has a question of Mr. Meyer? Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to be a party, who wishes to introduce testimony or evidence of their own? Yes, ma'am. You're Miss Henry, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you want to be a party?
Let me just clarify. Ms. Henry can make comments without becoming a party.
Can I just make a statement?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, we usually allow just testimony without them necessarily being a party unless they choose to be one.
But if you don't want to be a party, you just make a comment. I have no objection to her making a comment or making a statement.
That's accurate, Miss Henry. If you just want to make a statement, you're permitted to make a statement.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir. Okay, I have lived here for 15 years in that house. And what I will say about the ambulance, they have, on one hand, been very good neighbors. I'm sad to see them go because the 24/7 people being there all the time was a great safety factor, especially for my little daughter. In regard to the noise factor, with the ambulance, on many occasions, they leave the ambulance, which is a diesel piece of equipment, running outside with the back of the ambulance facing my front door. Summertime is not fun. Now, I've addressed those issues over the years, and, it's always a back and forth. I have people come and go, so I'm constantly dealing with that. That is a benefit that I see that I will not be dealing with in the future, which is a good thing. As far as the hours are concerned that have been discussed tonight, for me, I am the closest, I would say, that would be bothered by it. Personally, I'm out the door at 7:30 in the morning. So, I think from the sounds of it, the worst noise factor we would hear would be a forklift truck and vans. I would not be around when deliveries are made because I'm at work Monday through Friday. We are a working class neighborhood, and I think every neighbor that lives in those houses are gone Monday through Friday during the day because we all work. Now, in regard to the apartments, I do have concerns about, who's going to end up in there. At this point in time, I already have issues with trash in my yard because of people hanging out outside at night, especially during the summer. And I do have a young teenage daughter at this point. So there are concerns in that manner, but I do also know that Mr. Meyer does have other properties that are rentals. Biggest concern I have about that is those same people who rent are the people who are walking through my neighborhood back and forth up to Ridge Pike to go get beer at the whatever, or go get food, and they're constantly walking around. Kind of sketchy sometimes, especially with my teenage daughter. So I would hope that being so close, maybe if we could get some kind of barrier or fencing, to restrict access in the front or whatever towards the neighbors. I mean, that would be appreciated. Only for, safety factor, obviously.
Where would you want the, can you use the,
Can I use it? I would say where you see the end of the grass area right there, if there could be like fencing right there, and then they'd be required to park around back. Because there is a breezeway here. Also, on this side of the building, there is an alley, which there have been vehicles that would come around back and then drive up this way and then just hang out there. Right here, the level of property is higher than my property. So there's a grading factor that comes down. And there's like a gully. And at the base of the gully is probably like dead center where you see the grass from my red there to the pavement. That has always been maintained, that grass up the hill. I would really appreciate it if that stays that way, because that could get really, really bad very easily. It's also very wet in that area. I do know that flooding has occurred many times in this building, in that bottom apartment that's being projected. Just wanted to bring that out as a neighbor.
Did you see, as far as fencing, did you want to see fencing along your property line? Is that where you-
No. Right here. Because this is where the apartments are, I'm saying like right here. My property line is over here. It's like down here in the middle of the grass.
She's suggesting.
I'm asking just some kind of like barrier so that way, if they're going to hang out up here where the grass is and everything, that's all well and good, but like next thing you know, they're going to be over here hanging out and they're going to be smoking and whatever, and noise factor. I mean, it happens today.
Separate the two parts of the property,
Exactly,
the commercial part from the residential
commercial from the
part.
residential. To have some sort of like, just barrier of some sort.
Good idea. It just depends on the township, how far you can go from the sidewalk or the stop the fence.
That's true.
You're talking all like 5 feet. That's not that big of an area.
Right, and it's not really going to serve the purpose of what I'm hoping for.
That's why I was suggesting, would you prefer to have some fencing along your property?
You're talking about
Where, for like the slope? Well, see, but that would be cool, that would be wonderful, but that doesn't, like, the hangout factor over here is a big hangout factor, and it happens every summer already. So if you have people who are living there 24/7, 7 days a week, I can just see, summertime is going to be hellacious, with noise.
But you're comparing it to the ambulance crew, which
Correct.
is a young group
True.
that were waiting for the siren to go off. That's why they were hanging out.
No, I
probably.
understand.
But
But when you're also
in
living there,
apartments, he might have an old widow like me living in one.
True.
I'm not going to hang out.
true, but you never know, but you never know.
But I mean that.
He's talking 2 3-bedroom apartments and 1 1-bedroom apartment, you never know.
The upper level has handicap, I like to turn out the handicap.
Uh-huh. Okay.
One apartment should not do it, that's why I like to do it.
Right, right.
Too low,
Mhm.
Like I said, I did one block too. So
I know.
if you have a problem with, if you're being disrespectful.
And you know I will, because you know me.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows you. All you have to do is call her, come down, and then it's just the problem as it goes. Believe me, I'm on top, I try to stay on top of that. I can't help people walk down.
I know.
Get beer, I don't.
I know.
You know.
I agree. I honestly, I have no problem with what is being proposed. I just wanted to voice some concerns about, those sort of things. But other than, I think, having some kind of barrier or something to restrict from the commercial to the residential, that's the only cause of concern that I would have, honestly. I do know Mr. Meyer. Yes, we have been neighbors for a long time, and yes, we've experienced each other for different reasons. But I do know that he is a good standing member of our community in our neighborhood. So, I mean, I guess that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just forgot to say one thing. I think, see where that red or orange dot is right there on the map? Right there? That's a bus stop. And there's a lot of
Is
like
that what that is?
partners, and their moms sit there with their cars. If there's cars parked there, there's
That's
gonna
not
be.
gonna bother me personally. You know, because I know they sit there and park there all the time. I don't have a problem with that.
No, I mean, if there's cars already
They're
parked
gonna-
there, and there's
most
moms waiting to drop their kids off, and I have to leave for work. Sometimes, right now, I have to like go around cars.
As long as they stay on the paper road, I mean, that's something you have to deal with. But she's talking about, not there, where the grass.
Right there.
They actually
park
park
anywhere
there.
there.
We used to do when my kids were younger too, like, we used to park right there. I can see where it's parked, you get out. But if that's a problem, we'll have to address it. I mean, I can't help with people, as long as they're on the.
Oh, I know.
As long as they're on the paper street,
Right,
I can't say nothing. to
right,
them.
oh, I know.
And then